Good morning. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I want to make a video about coming into your sexual power, but I realize that that's really contingent on one particular concept that I really want to make this is going to be short and to the point and sweet, but I really want to explain before I delve into that because that whole video is based on really deeply grasping this concept. So this concept is that everything in life, everything in human life exists on the spiritual plane before the physical plane. So every aspect of what makes us human and everything that is around us starts on the inside. It starts in a spiritual sense and even an emotional sense or mental, something invisible before it is externally visible. And I'm going to give a couple of more basic examples of that to kind of create an understanding or a framework or reference point for everyone watching this, so that when I talk about this in terms of sexuality, you have something to go off of. The first example I want to give is really simple. Something as simple as like a chair or a table even has its origins in something spiritual. So we'll take a look at this from the human standpoint. So someone had to drop a design for that. They had to decide, I want a chair to exist. There's a really funny scene actually in, oh gosh, I can't remember The Passion of the Christ, where Jesus makes a table and like Mary's teasing him about how it's never going to catch on because in that time everyone sat on the ground. And it's just a funny point, but it kind of gets the point home that I'm trying to make, that even something as simple as a chair, someone had to conceive of the concept of sitting on something other than the ground or a rock or a stump before that could actually happen. They had to think the thought before the physical object, a chair, came into existence on planet Earth. Same thing with, well, pretty much everything around us is that way. Someone had to come up with an idea, and then from that idea, they had to imagine how would that work. And they had to maybe work with mathematical concepts and draw something, etc., etc., etc. There was a lot of planning that went in from someone's mind and their thoughts and imagination before something as simple as a chair or a table can come into existence. And then obviously in order to make, the machine that might make the pieces for it, and so on and so forth. Almost our entire world is that way. The entire physical world we live in that is made by humans starts on the spiritual plane. I believe that the whole world as a whole was a thought God had. Like, the creator decided, I want to make this, and when he willed it into being and he thought it up, it came into existence, just like we do with these things. We kind of co-create. That's tangent, not going there, but same idea. Then the second thing, though, is a little bit more, it's a little bit bigger. Even things like violence, physical violence, people killing each other, people hurting each other, people bullying, people creating violence in the world, yelling and screaming and hurting people's emotions, verbal abuse, all of these kinds of forms of violence all start in us. It all starts with a person who has an emotion they do not understand and do not know what to do with. But that emotion, again, it's something that's happening within them. It's invisible. It's an invisible force that causes a physical emotion, causes maybe the rage to well up in their stomach. Literally anger sends blood flow to your hands and your arms so that you can be violent. This is where the mystery of mind and body comes into play in creating reality. But even things like violence are all, you have an emotion, you have an internal response, and you decide to pursue violence. You decide to pursue violent action. A person will make that choice to create a plan or to just spontaneously go hurt someone. But it all begins on the inside. Everything begins on the inside, and everything comes from inside of us. And every aspect of who we are is internal before it's external. And again, some people can kind of twist it. Some people can kind of bypass that a little bit here and there in certain ways for certain periods of time. And I'll kind of move a little bit into the sexual arena with this so that there's a little bit more background in that area. Because obviously there are plenty of people out there who are beautiful people and attractive people who aren't in their sexual power. They may be beautiful on the outside. They may be, maybe they work out, maybe they got the genetic lottery. But within themselves, perhaps they don't understand how to use their power. They don't know they have power. They're not using it as well as they could. And it's not that perhaps they are, because they're attractive, letting that kind of be something they base their self-worth on. But guess what? Those people are going to get older and their physical beauty will fade. There's other people who are young and beautiful, but they also have their inner power intact. And they know that their physical beauty is just one part of their power as a person. Those people can go on and live a long life, but because they're living from an actual core of who they are, and they understand that their physical attractiveness and their sexuality is only one piece of their power as a human, they also develop all of themselves. They use that as one aspect, but they don't base their self-worth in it. Those people actually end up keeping, like, there's a lot of actors and actresses and famous people, and probably if you've met people in the world, there are a lot of people who are, into their 60s and 70s, and you can tell they're still they have that spark in them, and they still have that presence that makes you feel like that sexual energy is still there. There's still something there. Whereas for most people, once their physical bodies have aged, they just completely lose that because they think it's based on the physical. So that's kind of the intro into how our sexual power is something that lives within us. It's spiritual first before physical, and then I will go into more detail on that in another video to give it really full justice. But that's the beginning piece of it. So, yeah. That's it. And again, this is a shorter video. I did this in my last video, but it was so long that I was like, I don't think anyone got to the end of this to even hear it. If anyone out there is watching my videos and you see my perspective, you see my skill set, maybe you're a DNRS person, what have you, and you have a topic you'd love to hear my perspective on, or a question or anything like that, please drop a comment, send me a message, go to my blog. I'll leave a link down below for that. Message me in some way, and I'd be very happy to actually, because my goal again with these videos is to really help people attain their freedom. I want to help human beings be free. And as I've walked this path myself, I've learned a lot of very valuable skills, and I understand how freedom is achieved and how humans work. And that's my passion in life, aside from being a mom and, dancing and having friends and doing fun things, living it up. This is one of my life purposes. And if there's anyone out there who has a question, please, please, please reach out. I'd be more than happy to make a video in response to any questions. So much love to everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. Happy Labor Day weekend, and mwah!